Hello children of class 5. Welcome to this week's video on computers. Today I will complete chapter 1, Evolution of Computers. Last week in the online class I had taught about ancient calculators and early computers. Ancient calculators like the abacus and the Pascaline, early computers like the ENIAC and the Mark I. Today I'll be teaching about generations of computers, characteristics of computers. Now children, I'll talk about generations of computers. Now before I talk about computer generations, let me talk about mobiles. Now when people talk about mobiles, people say 4G mobile, 3G mobile, 2G mobile, 5G mobile. What is this 5G, 2G? And what does this G stand for? This G stands for generation. Okay. So the 5th generation mobiles, the latest, which are yet to come in India at least, these are the latest version. And the 1G are the oldest. 1G mobiles were those with which you could only make phone calls. Internet was not possible. Then came 2G mobiles. With 2G mobiles you could do internet, but video downloading and other things were not possible. With 3G, videos could be downloaded quite easily, and with 4G it became faster, and with 5G it will become much faster. Now in the same way, computers are also grouped into generations. There are 5 generations of computers. The first generation computers were those ENIAC and EDVAC and UNIVAC and so on. And right now we are in the 4th generation. For the last 30 years we are still in the 4th generation, and we are in transition to the next generation, that is the 5th generation. Now in the next part of the video I will talk about how the computers evolved from those huge machines like the ENIAC to today's smartphone. So these are the generations of computers. The first generation was from 1940 to 56. The second generation was from 1956 to 63. The third generation from 1964 to 71. And the fourth generation was from 1971 to present. Now, instead of studying about each generation first and then going to the next generation, what we are going to do is, we are going to compare all the generations on the basis of things like the input devices used, the output devices used, the secondary storage device used, and something called the main component inside. Okay. So here we are going to compare the 4 generations on the basis of the main component and the size of computers. Now, the first generation, they use something called vacuum tubes. There's a picture there. Then the second generation used something called transistors. The third generation used integrated circuits. Those things that we call chip. Okay, electronic chips, integrated circuits or ICs. Now you find them everywhere. You find them inside anything it is vaguely electronic. Your TV, your fridge, your washing machine, your mixie, induction stove. So these came in the third generation. And the fourth generation used microprocessor, which are just a more advanced versions of the integrated circuits used in the third generation. And what happened to the size of the computers? The first generation computers were very, very big. And in our computer room, now your computer room is full of it, with 45 computers. Now if instead the ENIAC was brought here. This entire room may be too small. This large computer room of ours will be too small to hold the ENIAC. The ENIAC was so big. The computers in those days were so big. No, don't think that because they were big, they were faster. They were very slow, much slower than today's computers in doing calculations. Then when the transistors came, transistors were used in the design of computers. The size of the computers became smaller. Instead of needing one big room, a computer could be fitted inside one small room. Then came the ICs and computer sizes shrank massively. And they became little more like what we know them today. But the CPU in those days was huge. The CPU probably would have been the size of a small Almirah. And today we have the microprocessor and the computers. The biggest computers are the ones you see on your desk. You have smaller laptops, tablets, and of course smartphones, which are also computers. Okay. Now in this slide, I will be explaining how in each generation there were different input devices. So instead of beginning from the first generation, I will begin with the fourth generation. Because in the fourth generation, you know about the fourth generation. In the fourth generation, we use keyboard, mouse, scanner, light pen, joystick, and so many more input devices. In the third generation, there was only the keyboard. There was no mouse, no joystick, no scanner. And take a look at that keyboard. Okay, take a look at that keyboard. The keyboard in those days was much heavier and slightly bigger in size. And in the first and second generation computers, there were no keyboard, forget about mouse. There were those funny things called punch cards and paper tapes. Okay, some pictures are given there. Sometime, if I have time, I will explain to you how these machines worked. Now I'll talk about the output devices. And again I'll begin with the fourth generation. Today in the fourth generation we have printers, monitors of course, and plotters and speakers. In the third generation we had only printers and monitors and no plotters and speakers. And in the first and second generation there were only printers. And when I say printers, don't think that they were the printers that you see in Mr. Vikas's office or Mr. or Miss Rosie's office, or the printer that you may be having in your house. No, not those printers. Those printers were big in size and slow in speed. Okay, and you could only print text. And yes, did I forget to tell you, black and white also. And now I'll talk about the different storage devices used in the various generations. Today, in the fourth generation, we use magnetic disks like hard disk and optical disks like CD DVD, and also solid state disks like pen drive. But in the third generation, there was only magnetic disks, hard disks. And the hard disk in those days were different from the hard disk used today. But in those days, in the third generation, the hard disk was something outside the CPU box. That's why it is called external memory. Because the hard disk was too big to be fitted inside the CPU box. Now, you see one picture over there. That is the picture of the world's first hard disk. The world's first hard disk, and it is being lifted into an aeroplane, and a crane is being used to lift that hard disk. So big they were in those days, the magnetic disk, the hard disk, had to be loaded into the aeroplane with the help of a crane. And yes, today hard disks come in sizes of 1 TB, 1 terabyte, or at least 500 gigabyte, at least. In those days, hard disk capacity was measured in kilobytes, not megabytes also. They were measured in terms of kilobytes, and they were so big in size. So see, this is what happens. Technology keeps on improving to make things better. Things become smaller, things become lighter, things become actually cheaper, and things becomes more affordable. Now, in the first and second generation, you had something called magnetic tapes, and these were very slow in storing data. And now I'll talk about the fifth generation computers. Fifth generation computers, they will have intelligence. They will be able to think. They will be able to imitate human learning. Okay? These are things that modern day computers cannot do. These are things that modern day computers cannot do. Modern day computers work on the basis of programs. Alright? And these programs tell the computer to do everything. Just because you have run one program today doesn't mean the computer will remember it. Next day again you have to run the same program. So they have no intelligence, they cannot think, and they cannot understand anything. But in the future, computers, they will have some sort of intelligence, they will be able to think, and they will be able to imitate human learning. Now, this is called artificial intelligence or machine learning. It is already coming. Okay? It is already coming. Now, when you type a message in WhatsApp, when you type the first few letters of the word, the suggestions of this word, full word appears. Okay? And why does that happen? Because your smartphone is smart enough to know what you are trying to type. So it is trying to help you. Okay? So that is a form of artificial intelligence. Input devices will be voice input. Okay? Voice input is already there. You have Google Talk, where instead of typing, you talk, you speak. You must have heard of Alexa. Alexa works on voice commands. So as you can see, these things are already happening. Okay, and within 10 years, we can say the fifth generation would have arrived, and keyboard and mouse and touch screen would have, we will say Tata, and we will have only voice input. Secondary storage is now just primarily hard disk, magnetic disks. Secondary storage will be cloud storage and solid state drives, and these are coming. What are solid state drives? Your smartphone, have you ever wondered how your smartphone stores data? It is too small to have a hard disk inside it. No, it doesn't have a hard disk. It has a memory which is solid state memory. Solid state memory is much faster than your hard disk, much faster, 10 times faster. Okay, that's why programs load much faster on your smartphone than on your computer. And you also have something called cloud storage. That means store on the internet. Okay, this is something which is already there. Later on, it will become more widespread. You type something, you save something, your songs and videos on your smartphone. Instead of saving them in your mobile and wasting a lot of space, you save it in the internet. The internet is vast. It can store your gigabytes and gigabytes of data, no problem. Now I will talk about the characteristics of computers. Now before I talk about the characteristics of computers, I must explain to you the meaning of the word characteristics. Anybody can have some characteristics. You have, I have, parents have, the school has, the state of Jharkhand has. What do you mean by characteristics? Characteristics means qualities. You can say about a person, that person is very brave, he is loyal. That person is a cowardly person, that person is wicked. That place is very beautiful, that place is highly polluted. So these are characteristics which describe a person. So in the next part of the video, I will be talking about the various qualities of a computer, the various good qualities. which have made computers so widely used. The first characteristic is speed. Speed in doing calculations. Speed is the amount of time to do a task. A computer works very fast and can do a large number of calculations quickly. Computers are used in offices, in banks, in research labs for doing massive data calculations. Okay? And computers do this very fast. I'll give you an example of how fast a computer can work. The report cards of your school are printed with the help of computers nowadays. Now, in the olden days, each class teacher used to write the report card of his class by hand, and it used to take the teacher the whole day to prepare the report cards of his or her own class. And today, within about 6 hours, the report cards of the entire school are printed out from one computer. So, isn't that fast? The next characteristic is accuracy. Speed is useful, speed is important, but along that is accuracy. The computer works fast, but does it do the work correctly? Let's see. Accuracy refers to what percentage of errors occurs while performing a task. And computers make no mistakes. They don't make few mistakes, they make no mistakes. This means that the accuracy is 100%. Diligence. Unlike human beings, computers do not get tired or bored of work. A computer can work for very long periods of time without any break. Storage. A computer can store an huge amount of data. Sorry, there's a grammatical mistake. That should be a huge, not an. Sorry about that. So a computer can store a huge amount of data. Okay. A computer stores data in hard disks, CDs, pen drives, memory cards, and other devices. Now, do you know your last year's marks? Probably not. And even if you knew your own marks only, and maybe the marks of one or two friends of yours. The computer, the report card computer, by the way, is in Mr. Vikas's room. That computer stores the marks of each and every student of junior school. And there's enough place to store the marks of senior school also if needed, and the whole of Carmel school as well as DAV school, as well as Jawaharlal Nehru school, and another 5-6 more schools, and still there will be a lot of space left. So the storage of a computer is really huge. Multitasking. A computer can perform more than one program at a time. Okay? Can you balance a ball in your hand? Yes, you can. Can you say the table of 15? Yes, you can. Try to do them together. You won't be able to do it. Because we human beings are not good at multitasking. We cannot do more than one work at a time. But the computer is designed in such a way that at least certain programs it can do work together. You can type a document using MS Word and at the same time listen to music and a music player like Windows Media Player. And the last characteristic we'll talk about is reliability. How reliable is a computer? Can you depend on a computer? What if the data is lost? That's the main thing. Computers are fast, computers don't make mistakes, but we store lots and lots of data in a computer. Data can be lost. Yes, it can be lost. Your computer can get damaged by fire. Your computer may be stolen, or your computer can just get damaged, or there may be a virus attack and your data can be lost. So then, is it reliable? Yes, it is reliable, because very easily you can copy the data somewhere. You can copy it to a pen drive, copy it to a memory card, copy it to a CD, and these things can be done very easily without any fuss. And you can make 3, 4, 5, 6 copies. So in case your original computer is damaged or lost or data is corrupted, don't worry, your data is safe, there is a copy somewhere. So with that, children, I come to the end of this week's video. This week, Chapter 1, Evolution of Computers. Today, in this video, I have taught you about generations of computers, characteristics of computers. Next week, there will be an online class in which I will start Chapter 2, Types of Software. So till then, it's Tata and take care.